Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Devils TV. Now it's your Manchester United versus Everton preview, and let's just get right into it. So first of all, let's talk about Sean Dyche and how he's turned around Everton, because before Sean Dyche actually came into the Everton job, Frank Lampard was the manager and they were in a relegation battle. And Sean Dyche has really turned it around, and that's what he's known for. He did amazing at Burnley throughout the entirety of his career, and I think he's doing the same for Everton. And with Everton having more quality players than Burnley, I can honestly see Sean Dyche making Everton a mid-table club again, because they are a decent squad and they do have dangerous players, and I'm going to talk about them players in a moment. But since Sean Dyche has been the manager of Everton, he seems to have changed from what his standard formation being a 4-4-2, and he's changed it to almost a 4-5-1. So he's having an extra man in midfield to dominate the central areas of the pitch and having that lone striker up front. But since Calvert-Lewin has been injured, he's kind of changed Demarai Gray into a more complex type striker. So I wouldn't say he's a false nine, but I would say that kind of like Mbeumo is for Brentford, who we literally played in our last game, kind of a getting behind striker who obviously helps out the midfield. It's sort of like I said, a complex striker almost. But we need to talk about the key areas of Everton's formation and the players who are going to be the most dangerous. And for me, the top three players who are going to be the most dangerous are going to be Iwobi, Demarai Gray and Onana. Now, the thing is as well with Onana, he is a very good signing and has done amazing at Everton. He's very strong, he's very tall, and this is going to be a physical battle. So this is why I'm going to explain my predicted 11 in a moment. But with Everton, they are known for having a lot of aerial threats. I mean, and for me, Alex Iwobi is the key player for Everton in this game against Manchester United, because Iwobi, he always seems to turn up against Manchester United. He always has a good game against us, and despite him only having 1 goal and 8 assists this season for Everton, he is in the top 1% of the Premier League of having the most possession won in the final third. So it shows you that he's brilliant at pressing. It shows you that he's very quick, he's very agile, and Everton, especially under Sean Dyche, are very good in the transition. So United need to be careful and giving away silly fouls, need to be careful of Tarkowski on corners, because Everton are a very good side and United just need to be careful. Because despite Manchester United winning 1-0 against Brentford during midweek and putting us back in the top 4 race, we need to win this game, because Everton are a very good side, they're very well constructed, and Manchester United need to be careful. But I am confident for this game, because finally Luke Shaw is going to be out of the team. Now obviously we know that his injury is supposed to be a hamstring injury, which is obviously a bit worrying, and Luke Shaw might be out for a couple of weeks. But I'm honestly excited to see Malacia play, and I do think Malacia will play, but I'm going to get onto that in a moment. But I do think the way Manchester United are going to set up in this game is that we're going to be a lot more creative, we're going to be a lot more better on the build-up, and I think that United are actually going to be a good force. And I honestly think that this is a perfect game for Martial to start back, and I'm honestly going to label Martial as the key player for Manchester United in this game, because he's played 16 games for us this season, and I think he's got 8 goals and I think it's 3 assists or something like that. So Anthony Martial is a very good player. I mean, and we've seen it as he's slowly been brought back into the squad over the last 2 games. When he's on that pitch, something different happens, something changes. The build-up seems to be a lot more smoother, and Martial takes away defenders with him. He's constantly marked around. I remember a moment in the Brentford game when he was brought on, that the 3 defenders at one point surrounded Martial, because I don't know what it is about Martial, but we know he's a dangerous player. We know that Marcus Rashford is the better finisher out of the 2, but Martial seems to be the more dangerous player, the more highlighted player, to be that he's the one that can cause us more issues than Marcus Rashford. So obviously we've seen that since Wout Weghorst has been in the squad, for Marcus Rashford has really thrived from that. But I think Marcus Rashford is going to thrive even more with Martial back in the squad. And I'm going to explain the rest of my starting 11 now, which is what I think Eric Ten Hag is going to go for. I think he keeps David De Gea in net, because obviously he's our best goalkeeper. goalkeeper, and despite the agenda against David De Gea, I think he's the perfect player for this game, and you're not going to play Tom Heaton in a Premier League game, are you? It's pretty obvious. I do think Wan-Bissaka comes back into this team though, because I do think that Dwight McNeil and Alex Iwobi or Demarai Gray, they'll probably be rotating, and they'll probably be all just changing each positions, kind of like how United do, where they just keep it going and trying to keep the defenders confused. So I do think, just to help on if Everton do get a breakaway, a counter-attack, then I do think Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be great for a game like this. And even though Diogo Dalot played well against Brentford during midweek, he also did play against Newcastle at the weekend. So I do think, you can't ask him to play 3 games with him in 7 days. So I do think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka does come back into the team. And I don't think that's just for that extra defensive stability, almost. I do think the likes of Varane and Martinez do stay as the back 2, which is brilliant, because for me, they're up there for in the top 3 of the best defence in the league, despite what the stats say, because we've had Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof for years. So we all know how much we all love Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez. They're absolutely brilliant together. The Butcher and the Rolls Royce, they're absolutely just sensational. And I do think that they're going to help us win this game as well by carrying the ball and making the press as high as it possibly is. I do think Everton are going to be in their own half a lot for the majority of this game, but we just have to be careful on their breakaways, because we know that's exactly how they're going to set up with that 4-5-1 formation. But speaking of Everton, quickly, I just want to make a quick note. They obviously did get a very important draw against Spurs during midweek as well, and it was obviously a good result for Manchester United, because that's what's caused us to get back into the top 4 after beating Brentford on Wednesday. But at the end of the day, Doucouré got suspended in that game against Spurs. So he's a very important player for Everton. And I do think that, who's he going to bring in? Tom Davies, maybe James Garner. And I do think that they're going to have a bit of a hole in midfield. Obviously, they're going to have that player available, but it's not going to be the same as what they're used to playing with. So I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United kind of win the physical battle in the midfield battle. And that's why I'm going to explain the rest of my predicted 11 in a moment. But yes, obviously I mentioned the first back 4, and Malacia is going to be the left back due to the fact that Luke Shaw has got a hamstring injury. Obviously, I do think Luke Shaw has been a bit of a defensive liability recently. I don't understand the hype from majority of our fan base, and I do think he has been playing very bang on average recently. And I'm not saying that I'm glad he's injured or anything like that, but I have been saying for a few weeks now that Malacia does deserve a start. I do think Malacia will perform better than Luke Shaw, and Malacia is actually a modern day fullback who's very quick, good at being good on the overlap, good at being an inverted fullback, and he's very quick and got a good defensive awareness. So I'm actually excited to see how Malacia plays. The midfield is going to consist of Scott McTominay and Sabitzer. I do think that McTominay played amazing against Brentford, and I think that he just deserves to keep his place. We need that height in the midfield, we need that physicality, and if McTominay can have a performance like he did against Brentford, I'm all for it, for keeping him in the squad, because he deserves to keep his squad. He deserves to keep his place in the squad if he plays like he does against Brentford. But if not, then obviously we can bring on Fred or someone. And obviously we do need to have that physical midfield battle. But if you're bringing him off with like 30 minutes to go, having a midfield like Fred a bit more mobile will actually probably help us see out the game, in my opinion. As number 10, obviously Bruno Fernandes. I do think that he's going to be very important in this game again. He needs to be very on his game with the creative ability with what he's been doing recently. I do think that he's kind of reverting back to his old ways by trying to not be the hero, but doing stupid shots from about 30 yards out and just going absolutely nowhere near the goal and just like hitting someone in the face in row Z. Do you know what I mean? I think that Bruno Fernandes needs to be a bit more patient on the ball. He needs to just see the pass out and just actually help the team in build up in possession and try and not give away too many sloppy possession, too much of the possession away. I do think that Anthony starts, and I was thinking of putting Jadon Sancho back in, but I think that Jadon Sancho will drop to the bench, and I do think that Antony is going to start over Jadon Sancho due to the fact that he's obviously our only left-footed attacker and he brings that balance in the front three. Marcus Rashford being on the left, I mean, he's our top goal scorer, 28 goals this season. He's absolutely on fire, and I do think that it'll be a good battle between him and Coleman, to be honest. And I think that Rashford will actually get past Coleman quite a few times, and it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I think it's going to be a bit more of a relaxed game for Marcus Rashford instead of dealing with like a Kieran Trippier or something. And obviously, number 9, I'm going for Anthony Martial. He's going to be our key player in this game. I just want to see how he performs. And I think that even though he doesn't constantly make constant runs, getting in behind between the opposition's defence, he's very important into this Erik ten Hag side. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I do want to make an honourable mention as well to Wout Weghorst, and that if Manchester United are struggling for a goal and we've got 30 minutes left to play, we can bring on Wout Weghorst, who's an absolute pressing machine. And I know that Everton are going to be dropping back tomorrow and they're going to be setting up for the counter-attack. We're going to try and build up fast in possession as they drop back for majority of the game. But then when they get that breakaway, they're going to just try and go boom, 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 and try and hit it and just break. With Wout Weghorst coming on with 30 minutes to go, I think he can do something. He can be dangerous because he's constant pressuring, and I don't think Martial will play the full 90 minutes. So, because obviously I think Erik ten Hag is just easing him back into the squad. But I do think that this is the game that Martial does start. So I do think if Wout Weghorst does come on, he will be very impactful, in my opinion. But yeah, thank you for watching today's video. Oh, I need to do my score prediction. I'm going to go, I'm feeling confident. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for Manchester United. And I am going to say that Martial does score, because I do think that he's a very important player for us. I do think he's going to have a very good game. And as long as United set out the way we did against Brentford, where we would put them on the back foot and just help and just focus and just played well from minute 1, I think Manchester United can get a good result out of this. And obviously, United have struggled for scoring goals at the moment, but now our injuries are starting to come back. I do think Manchester United are going to start scoring goals again, which is what we want to see. And I am going to go for a 3-1 victory for Manchester United. So yes, thank you for watching today's video. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment and share. We're on the road to 700 subscribers. So thank you. Leave a comment about how you think this game's going to go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.